Hey for Vases, it's Klaireeberry. I'm actually kind of in the middle of eating a salad. I just got home. It's getting to be pretty busy season for us now. We got baseball just about every other day during the week. Spring breaks are over, both of them. And so just getting back in the swing of things. This is actually my first full week at work since like late to mid-December. So I really can't complain, but it is, going from being not very busy. Well, who am I fooling? I'm always busy. Like, single mom. That's just how it is. Like, if I have any spare time, it's usually going towards either just relaxing out of sheer necessity, or doing things around the house, or whatever else needs to be done for the kids. Running errands, shopping, yada, yada, yada. So, I also realized that salad is like the worst thing to do a mukbang on. So I'm just kind of hungry and I want to eat. Anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about, I just want to be real with you guys and just kind of ramble probably a little bit, but I just didn't have the best day yesterday. I don't really want to get into like all the specifics. It's just like a stressful day, like shit just wasn't going right. I felt overburdened. I felt like I couldn't do anything right, like failure, like, like you just, things build up, you get overwhelmed. It's like nothing I'm doing is like making any effort and working. And those of you who know me at all, like, know that I just like to turn like any negative into a positive. So in my brain, I'm like, okay, let's do a video so that I can turn this around and make it positive. So the video is just like helping others, when they get down or, when they're in a funk or if they have a bad day or whatever. And that is, I guess, the first tip in itself is to always look for the silver lining. Train yourself to do it. This hasn't always been, it might be a little bit of how my personality is, but overall, I always say this on all of my positive thinking, videos, if you want to check my playlist, law of attraction videos, but I have trained myself over, I think it's about, I always have to stop and think, 2005, so going on 14 years now. Excuse me, I should just say as long as my youngest son has been alive, I've been doing law of attraction. I found it when I was selling sex toys. For those of you who don't know, that I sold sex toys for quite some time. I've done it twice for multiple years at a time. Anyway, I read The Magic of Thinking Big, and then I saw The Secret, which if you haven't seen that, definitely see it, read the book, whatever. Got a website, all that stuff. Just so helpful, and I started manifesting small things, and over time been manifesting new things, but I've been working on this and I've been getting better at it, and it helps, when you focus on positive thinking, you get better at it, and then you get better results. So it's, it's not going to help immediately. It doesn't obviously always help, in every single second, and sometimes you're just sad. You just need to let it out and you just don't fight it. Like, I'm a crier, and I think it's a good release. I feel like we need a release for our emotions. So that's another tip, write, draw, journal, do sculpture, do any kind of art, sing, dance, walk, run, body moving, mind moving, getting pretty much anything that's going to get you out of where you're at. Like, even if you're just having like not a horrible day, but it's just, especially like moms with kids, you're having a bad day, you're cooped up, the energy around you is stale, do some sage, do some Santo Palo, do some incense, clean up, tidy up, change your surroundings. But obviously getting outside, huge one. If you can't get outside, just get out around other people, around a bustling atmosphere. Get listen to other people's stories, maybe watch a movie, something where you're getting your mind out of where you're at is always good, as soon as you can do that. And the solutions, a lot of times when we're upset, when we're frustrated, like say you're broke and you really want to figure it out, you want to change your life, a lot of times we sit down with pencil and paper or something and try to figure everything out right now because we think we have to, or we think that's the way it's going to work. But the best ideas usually come to us when we get out, when we separate ourselves from the situation, and that's when we're able to invent new things or have new ideas. And with getting really upset, again, if you are fighting something, what we resist persists. So if you're fighting it, if you're holding it in, obviously we know that's going to bottle up and explode at some point. So having regular creative outlets is really important. Another thing I'd want to say that goes along with that is covering it up and not allowing yourself to feel it is bottling it up. So if you're thinking, I have to escape the pain, it's so great right now, I have to drink, I have to do drugs, I have to play video games, or even if you're like overindulging in like TV and not allowing yourself to process, that's going to obviously be an issue. It's going to prolong, it's going to prolong it. If we don't heal, if we don't get the lesson, then you're going to have this same thing happen. And the definition of insanity, I feel like this whole video is just a cliche so far. I didn't mean for that to happen. I think what I really wanted to say, I really just, oh my gosh, what happened? I really want to just let you know that you're not alone. Everybody, even the most put together people, shitty days, shitty weeks, shitty months, shitty years. And, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It doesn't matter what you did today. What matters, again, another cliche for you, if you learn from it, then it's a good thing that it happened. And it's okay. But again, if you keep on making the mistake, it's not a mistake. It's you doing it, basically on purpose. So with my situation, again, I was just so upset. I had to just let it out. I didn't think I wanted to, get on social media or anything, but I did a little bit, kind of helped me get out of where I was and try to go to sleep early. Self-care, obviously huge here. Because again, when you're drinking and stuff, like and doing drugs and even coffee and junk food, or let's say you just don't eat when you get stressed out, these are obviously gonna just cause more stress in the body, and it's just gonna probably end up creating disease. Like you could be the healthiest person with your habits, but then if you let your stress get out of control, then it's actually just as harmful, if not more, as what you're consuming and what you're doing on a daily basis. So a lot of these substances too, coffee, alcohol, different drugs and junk food, they are really mood, decliners, I guess you could say. They really don't help us have, and of course alcohol makes you feel good for those first 2 drinks or whatever, and then after that it's all downhill, and then the next day you feel worse, and not only you're hungover or whatever, but then your serotonin just goes downhill because you use all that serotonin up or whatever in the first euphoria, and you're burnt out. And being able to remember that and to stop yourself, that is an achievement right there. And this is the piece that really made me want to do this video and talk about this, is that when you make that first choice to not drink, when you make that first choice to get outside, take a walk, you feel better, that's your first step into the positive reinforcement. Then it opens the door, it makes it easier to do that the next time. I always told my kids, when I'm giving them lectures, like you have, it's in the Bible, I think, and probably elsewhere, you have the wide road is easy to follow. It's easy to, say, oh, fuck it, let's just get drunk. Oh, fuck it, let's just go do drugs. Oh, fuck it, let's just go indulge in tons of junk food or whatever. To, it numbs the pain temporarily, because you are getting outside of your problem. That doing those actions takes you away from it, and that's why it feels good. And these are the reasons why it feels good, chemically and everything. And then it it's the wide road. That's what everybody does. It's the easiest road. It's the most obvious thing to do. It's flashing signs. Come drink beer, here. Come eat junk food everywhere you go. You're seeing these. Turn on the TV, magazines, billboards, everything. You're seeing this. It's the wide road. It's easy, but the wide road leads to hell, hell on earth. Like it doesn't lead you where you want to go. The good road, and it just doesn't have to be religious in this connotation. It's just life. The good road is hard to find. It's hard to stay on. It's harder. But when you're walking along the path, you leave tracks each time. And so each time you go down that path, it's the same thing every day. This is all a cycle. It's not linear. Healing is not linear. Life is not linear. It's a cycle. You do the same thing over and over. And you walk you have the same choices every day when you wake up. So if you start to make those good choices instead of going down the easy road, then guess what? It becomes easier because you have the pathways. You recognize the way. And it's the same with the wide road. It's like when you go through the wide road, you recognize it. It becomes easy. It's habit. You do it without even thinking, and you have made such a path. The road was already wide, but you just made it even more obvious to go down. And then you have addiction issues, and that's part of it. Your body is the pathway, that is downtrodden every single time. It's like, this is the only way. You get to a point where you can't even fathom that there is another way, because you've just made this the only way. That's the only way you know. So each time that you make a positive choice, you are making it easier to make a positive choice in the future. And not only this, but this is where self-confidence comes from. And it doesn't have to be for a negative application. This doesn't have to be for only when you're sad, mad, upset, etc. This is for your positive goals too, for everything positive in your life. When you make a positive choice, you are then rewarded, not just with, being able to see the next positive choice or being able to see the road, but it gives you a self-confidence. This is where self-confidence really comes from. We're not born with self-confidence. We're little kids. We're paddle-footing around, whatever and, you have to learn. You're real shaky when you're walking, and then kids learn, when they're safe, when they're protected, they learn to become self-confident as they make choices that they can look at and say, Mommy says, yay, you did that right. And then they do it again and they feel good about themselves. That's what life is about. Trick your mind, and then just know that it will get easier. It's the same thing with eating healthy. I always say that when you start eating salads, you will crave them more. This is biological. This is theoretical. This is everything. This is life, you guys. When you start making good choices, they become easier to make. You're happier because you can look back on your achievements and write those down. Keep those with you. Every achievement, even if you feel like you've been such a crappy person that you have almost nothing that you could ever look back on and say that you did right. If somebody told you were horrible your whole life and you happen to absorb it because that's what we do, start giving yourself props for making it through the day. Start giving yourself props for insignificant things that you think are insignificant. Learning how to ride a bike. If you learned how to do that, if you learned how to write, if you learned how to read, if you learned how to write a college paper, if you learned how to do that, you can do anything. You can learn different things. And I think that, like, for me, I was always the type of person, certain things came really natural to me. Athletics, school, stuff like that. I didn't have to, work at those that hard. So I was the type of person that when things did kind of get difficult, I was that type of person. I give my kids this lecture the other day. Don't shy away from it. Don't label yourself, especially when you're young. Don't label yourself as not good at that. When you're older, when you're my age and older, you start to be like, yeah, I really know who I am. I really know what I want. I really know what it is. But there's so many influences when you have society and culture and friends and people and teachers and parents all trying to tell you, and advertisements everywhere, all trying to tell you who you are, what you need. It takes a long time to cut through that and really know who you are and what you want. So don't sell yourself short and just say, oh, because I didn't get that naturally, then that's what I'm good at, or that's what I'm always going to be good at. Like, a lot of skills are just learned. And as parents and, as teachers and anybody who works with young children, this is really, really important to not just look at kids and not say these things in front of them or to them where, oh, you're such a great artist, to one kid, and the other kid, might be a little younger, might be a little, less naturally inclined to be an artist, but you don't tell them, you're just not an artist. A lot of people do this. My mom did that a lot. You're this, you're that, you're my this kid, you're my that kid. No, that kid, if they stick with it, if they enjoy it, then let them do, don't tell them they're not good at it or whatever, because they could get better, and you can get better at a lot of things. But anyway, I just feel like I really wanted to share this message that when we start doing the right things, we get that confidence. It becomes easier. We enjoy it. We do it more. I just really want to share that because, not only does it apply to so many different levels and things, and like I said, I just wanted to kind of make my bad day turn into something good, and it already has in other ways. Like that's what I was doing all night. As soon as I got my journal out, looked at some of the old mantras too that I had. A lot of the mantras that I have now are really useful in situations like that, because they're not like shallow mantras like, oh, I have money, I have this or that. Not that that's always shallow, but it's like just living in positivity, attracting positive things. Like, I'm good at attracting things. I'm good things come to me. Like, everything happens for a reason type of stuff. I think that that's one of those things that, even if it's not true, it's like worth telling yourself. Because what we think, we attract. We are powerful. We have God inside of us. This is part of the reason why, like, the powers that be in this world are trying to keep us so distracted with all these mind games, with all these conspiracies, with all of this and that, trying to figure them out, trying to be fearful of them, because they don't want us to realize our true power. For whatever reason. But we are. You are powerful, and you can get through this. This too shall pass. Literally. If you are a drinker, you can play a drinking game. And how many cliches I have said. But cliches are cliches for a reason, Wisdom passed down. It sticks. Classic things. Truth. Being classy never goes out of style, The classics always stay sexy with the classics now. Like way off base here. Way off touch. But I think you guys get what I'm saying, so let me know if this helps you. If not, if you want to see more videos like this or not. I'm going to finish up my day here. I'm just going to pop in and talk to you guys because I hadn't been in too much. I meant to come and see you more on my spring break, but I was doing so much. I did some relaxing, lots of sleeping. I think I had gotten behind, so I needed it. Oh, pepper. And I just did a lot of cooking, a lot of, time with the kids, board games, played Risk for like 3 hours one day, a lot of organizing, just getting again. The outside is a manifestation of the inside. So with your feng shui, it goes both ways. Like, if you're feeling in turmoil, usually you look around and your house is in turmoil. But also, whenever your house is clean, you walk into a clean room, you can actually, scientifically they say, like, studies show that you actually think more clearly and feel better, when your things are organized and you don't have too much clutter. And, life is just a process of letting go. Part of the reason, like last night, that I ended up crying so hard is just because I felt so, at that moment, I felt sad that my babies were growing up. And, how I used to be able to like hug them so much, and now they're like young men. They're like not hardly even young. I mean, I have a 6'2" kid, and the other one's bigger and taller than me, and they're just, it's like all the love and cuddles you used to get is like, it's harder to get, and it's just like, I'll never get that back. And I got real sad about like just not being able to hold on to that, not being able to remember. I'm about to cry right now. Not being able to like remember every good moment, because I have a horrible memory, and it's kind of scary, when you age and you're thinking about the future, and you're thinking about like, oh, possibly going senile in the future and never remembering anything, and then you think about death, and then all this downward spiral shit. And then I just pray. Like when I get going in that downward spiral stuff, it's just like, pray, focus on the good, and realize that nothing is meant to stay the same. That's not life. That's unnatural. And if I forget things, so be it. I'm sure I'll have another life after this and get to, maybe get to do it, and I always, even though, I may not remember every single little moment, like right now, I just need to focus on what I do have. I still have my boys in front of me. They're still here with me, I can still kiss their little cheeks and everything. And I still do remember, I remember, all the hugs and the kisses, and, not all of them obviously, but it's just, thank you. It's just, you have to fill your heart up with the positive things. And that's kind of where this whole thing goes back to and leads to, and everything is the positive choices, making that choice in the moment instead of focusing on the lack of memories, the lack of these, this love, or the lack of whatever. Instead of focusing on the lack, instead of focusing on losing these memories or whatever, I have to focus on being happy that I ever had them in the first place, because I know I did, and nobody can take that away from me. So again, find that silver lining, and then the next time you have that issue, it's going to be easier for you to take the positive side again, to find that silver lining, to think about the positives, and again, write this stuff down. If you have anxiety, do a whole list of positive things, again, in your life that you've done, in your life that you've experienced, things that people have said to you that fill you with joy, things that you've seen other people do, whatever it is that makes you happy, like write it down and then pull it out. Sometimes we fight ourselves. If anything's too hard, we don't want to do it when we're in that situation, but pulling it out and just being like, look, this was me, this was my plan, I'm going to do it. And again, the next time it'll get easier. And so hopefully, I can help you. I can help somebody with this. I can remind you of things you probably already knew. Again, all these cliches, you knew these, but this is your reminder, and you can maybe go and help others. And that's why we go through these negative things. They're hard as hell. They make us stronger. If it doesn't make you stronger, or if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. But also the beauty of adversity in life is being able to move on and help other people that are going through the same thing. If you didn't go through that eating disorder, how would you help others? You wouldn't know how to, because you wouldn't experience it. So if you didn't go through that abuse, you couldn't. And that is what I see a lot of people do. When we lose people that we love too soon, one of the best things to do for healing is to take that pain and manifest it and push it away, give it away, change it into something else. And I just think that's the best way to deal with life. That's the best way to deal with things. And it's not fake, and it's not, rose-colored glasses and all of that. But it's helpful. It's helpful for you. It's helpful for the earth. And I think that's part of what we're just trying to do here, is raise this vibration of the whole entire earth. I believe in the whole Rastafarian idea, heaven on earth is meant to be here. We have the power. We are powerful beings. We are gods. We are mini gods. And we can create something like that. And one of the things we need to do is get rid of the animal agriculture, because the frequency that is putting into our air, putting into our earth, it's not just pollution. The pollution is a manifestation of what is on the inside. Again, what is it within? It is without. And that really the truth, we always say that, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over. Really, you're really actually crazy if your inner does not match your outer. Okay? So fake it till you make it, not so crazy because you're manifesting something, you're creating it. But if you are not in touch with reality, and I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know how to verbalize what I'm saying, what I'm thinking. But again, with the animals and the inside and the outside, you're literally, when you eat meat and dairy and eggs, you're just consuming that negativity. And then it's going into the world, it's just vibrating everywhere. And so if that's what I feel like just the mass scale, I don't think a lot of people realize how many billion, if we were killing ourselves at the same rate as animals, we'd be extinct within 17 days, almost 8 billion people now, 17 days. That's the scale that we're dealing with here. It's hard to fathom. It's hard to imagine, especially when you're still consuming those meat products, because you have that cognitive dissonance, you have that denial going on. But that is a mass scale of true and real suffering. They always say, don't, you go through something bad, well, somebody else goes through something that's worse, but that person who went through something that's worse can't really discount the pain of somebody who went through something lesser. That's the same thing with animals. We can't discount their pain because they can't verbalize it with words. If you don't think they're verbalizing it with their screams and their cries and everything else, and showing it with their tears and fighting and resisting, then you're wrong. And you obviously haven't seen any slaughterhouse footage. You're living in a fantasy world, probably because you're still consuming those products. But, that's a very large scale, probably the biggest right now on this earth, the biggest cause of suffering, especially when you count in that really all of this secondhand stuff. We could be feeding this grain that we're feeding to these 2-ton animals or whatever. We could be feeding this to these little starving children, but we're not. It's not a storage problem. It's not a growing problem. We have enough food to feed the whole entire earth. We're just not doing it because we feel the need for meat, because we've been brainwashed. And it makes you wonder, the powers that be obviously don't have our best interest in heart. And I really honestly feel like if there's any kind of conspiracy out there, a lot of it is trying to keep the world at this base level, because that's what they're doing with their advertisements. That's what they're doing with the, what do you call it, the big music industry, big music, the record industries, the record labels are trying to keep you on this low level vibration. When you think about our chakras, they want us down here. They don't want us up here. If you believe in fluoride, pineal gland, whatever, that's what this is. That's what we're talking about. And when you eat meat, this is what you're consuming. This is what you're putting out there. This is what is everywhere. And it's all over the earth. And, this is just another reason. It's a more spiritual reason that, you should be a vegan activist, that I'm a vegan activist. It's deeper than just the environment, just the animals, just health. It really is so deep. But again, this lesson, this negativity, it actually teaches me the lesson of, to be at peace with everything. And again, to go back to letting go, because the change is productive. The pain, it is productive, and I don't want to be oh, the animals are suffering for a reason, because that's silly, to think of it really in that way, to write it off and to use that to keep doing it, because that's not where the lesson is. The lesson is when you overcome it. But to me, sorry, I put some pepper in this and it's getting my throat. When it's just all transmutation. You just keep on growing. Nothing stays the same. Again, I'm losing my train of thought. It's been a long day. Straight from work to baseball and then straight here to talk to you guys pretty much. But when you go through this pain and when you get to the other side, then you realize the depth of it, and you realize that you let go. You have to let go. I can't hold on to my little babies. I can hold on to the memory, and this is the whole like Buddhism, suffering. Suffering is a part of life. It's why we're here. We use it as a lesson to not be attached. And then that is freedom, and that is nirvana, right? To get beyond it. But how can you get beyond it if you didn't have it in the first place? So, again, this also goes in with one of my last videos too. Don't focus on what you don't want. If we're trying to stop all of this suffering in the world, don't focus on it. I mean, yeah, you have to show it, you have to share it, you have to let people know what's going on, because knowledge is power. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't look at it ever, because to know evil, to fight evil, you have to know evil, for sure. I just want a little cliche clicker right here. But know it, but outsmart it. It's like arguing with an asshole. There's a phrase about that. I forget what it is. If you get caught in an argument with an asshole, you're an asshole too. You can't win. You gotta figure out how to outsmart them, how to see things in a way they've never seen. Call attention to, something deeper, something better, something more smart, something that just blows them out of the water. You can't fight fire with fire. You should fight fire with water, etc., etc. So I think that whenever we're trying to, yes, what we're trying to do is fight, animal agriculture and the suffering of animals and the pollution of our earth and all of this stuff. But by focusing on it, a lot of times that just brings us to a negative state. I'm not saying never share any video, you know what I'm saying. This is kind of a vague, general idea. But again, Mother Teresa said it, she wouldn't go to a anti-war rally. She goes to a peace rally. This goes with doublespeak too. This is how they keep us in these cycles a lot of times, is by using words and stuff like this that keep us doing, they'll say one thing, but they mean the other, and it's the exact opposite. Opposites attract, dualities of life, yada, yada, yada. But we need to focus on, instead of focusing on the pain and suffering that is in the earth right now and dwelling in that and living in that, we need to focus again on the positive, on the future that we want to see. We need to, as vegan activists, I think the best thing we can do every day is to take some time and visualize a vegan world. I want this to become a thing. I really do. I've made this statement in numerous videos. I've made numerous videos about this. Please share. I know a lot of people aren't going to watch a 30-minute video about this, but if you want to take the idea and run with it, whatever, give me credit or don't. I honestly don't care, because again, it's my imprint's going to be on it anyway. Whether you choose to relate to me or not. But I just feel like it's so important, and I feel like not a lot of people do that. It's easy to say, you see all these memes and all these phrases and all these people talking, oh, vegans are lonely, and it's some are funny, oh, the only thing vegans talk to is their friends on the computer, or I lost my faith in humanity going vegan. It's like, this is not what we want to be promoting. For obvious reasons. Like, if you're trying to make more vegans, you don't want to focus on the negatives about veganism. Focus on the positives. There's so many, that's how you attract what you want, by feeling good about things, by focusing on the good things. Do your vegan activism when you feel good. Before you do your vegan activism, get hyped up, listen to music, dance around, eat lots of good, healthy fruits, sugary foods, whatever to get you going, drink water, do a walk, get in a good mood, and then go do your purpose, do your thing. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. Leave it on a positive note. Let me know what you guys think again. Feel free to follow me all over social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, and Klaireeberry.com. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.